Good morning, everyone. My name is Dan Frugero with the JRP Group, and we welcome you to this segment of Real Estate Contracts and Disclosures. So here at the JRP Group, we're putting together a library of short videos in which we're going over the basics of the contracts and the disclosures that we use in our everyday business. These are meant just to be a guide, and certainly if you have any questions, you should reach out to your sales manager, your legal department, or your broker to ensure that you're filling all of these disclosures and contracts out correctly. So on this particular segment, we're talking about the SPQ, which is the Seller Property Questionnaire. And what happens here is we basically have the seller, and the house is going to be talking to the buyer and potentially the buyer's agents. So let's just kind of go over this form a little bit. What we do at the JRP Group is we have a lot of one-on-one meetings, and we also have our group training sessions. And during these, we actually go over the entirety of the disclosures and the contracts. Certainly, the disclosures and the contracts are of the utmost importance, as this is all the pertinent information that's going to be used to be able to transfer the house from one individual to another. So we want to make sure that we provide as much accurate information as possible. So this form is not a substitute for the real estate transfer disclosure statement, the TDS, and that's going to be a disclosure that we're going to be touching on in another segment. So what we've got here is this is making where the seller is now, and the seller's house is now going to be talking to you through this form. So right off it talks about the seller makes the following disclosures with regard to the real property or manufactured home described as. So again, we're going to have to make sure that our address is correct. Again, we're going to make sure that our parcel number is correct, the city that the property is located, and then certainly the county that it's located as well. The following are representations that are made by the seller, and they are not representations of you as the agent. This disclosure is not a warranty of any kind by the seller or any agents, and is not a substitute for any inspections or warranties the principals may wish to obtain. This disclosure is not intended to be part of the contract between the buyer and the seller. Unless otherwise specified in writing, the broker and any real estate licensee or other persons working with or through the broker has not verified information provided by the seller. A real estate broker is qualified to advise on real estate transactions. If the seller or a buyer desires for legal advice, they should consult one. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to go over, and this is where the seller is going to say yes or no to the following questions. Are you, the seller, aware of any of the following? And then you're going to go through and you're going to be answering a series of yes or no questions. So what you'll do is you'll sit down with the seller and you're going to have the seller fill this out. So then you can, certainly be a guide for them, and you can ask them or answer any questions that they might have. So you're going to go over this first section, and if there's any explanations of yes or no, that will be filled out. You'll be going on to page 2. And again, it's going to have continuing of any repairs and alterations in section B. Section C is going to be structural systems and appliances. Again, these are all yes or no. Disaster relief insurance or settlement claims, excuse me, with the property. Water related or mold issues. If they've had any pets, animals, or pests in the previously, or is there any pests on the property currently? Boundaries, assessments, and property uses. Again, these are all yes and no questions. Landscaping, pool, and spa. If it happens to be a condominium or a common interest development, again, these are yes or no questions. So a lot of times what happens is, what if the questions comes in and it says, if it's no, do we have to put it? When we go to our local multiple listing service, and we talk with our legal teams, the SPQ is a form that they recommend that every single line item have a yes or a no. Even though if it may not make sense, if it says, is something has been done, no, it has not, and there might be a question A or a question B on next to it, you should always go ahead and fill out each one yes or no. When we do our training here at the JRP group, we train our agents to ensure that every box has been marked yes or no. So we continue on each section: title, ownership, and legal claims, governmental, and then as far as anything else, any type of reports or inspections, and then any additional comments. And as you'll notice, this is only signed by the seller and by the buyer. So again, the main thing about the SPQ is we have the house and the seller talking to the owner about, this is the condition that I'm in. Again, we appreciate you spending time with us on this segment of the real estate contracts and disclosures, going over the seller property questionnaire, the SPQ. We wish you good luck in all of your real estate endeavors. Thank you.